Hey everyone, how's it going? Really excited for the conversation that we got on tap today. This is going to be kind of my first opportunity or my first time kind of really nerding out about cards and about a specific set. And I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but I'm excited to see what it could turn into. And hopefully there's something of value in it. And hopefully it's a conversation that, can continue either through messages or comments or whatnot. So, please feel free to keep the conversation going in comments or reach out to me or kind of extend it to forums, Instagram, and whatnot. Not the app, by the way. And that set is going to be the Panini Noir, and specifically, that's going to be the base designs and the base cards throughout the years. And just kind of a brief intro that Noir was a set that was first released in 2014. And so there is, by the end of Panini's tenure, there will have been 11 years of Noir releases, assuming that it is released in 24-25. Last year's release, the 23-24, was the 10th release of that set. And apologies in advance if I end up calling it Panini Noir or something like that. For some reason, I see the name and it just turns into Noir. Excuse me, it just turns into Noir. And so, I'm going to focus on the base design and the base sets over those 10 years. I'm going to try to do so efficiently. Just wanted to take an opportunity before doing that to point out a couple of my other cards in my collection from that set. So these are the two other cards that I have from that set. The first is, I believe, from 2018-19. Yeah, it's from 2018-19 Noir, and that's this Nemanja Bjelica auto. I think what really pops out, one of the things about Noir is it only has on-card autos, which is great. The other thing is the holo foil on it is awesome. And what I like in particular is that even this kind of base auto out of 99 still has that holo foil. I mean, the way it shines is really nice. It looks really good. The on-card auto is beautiful. Obviously, Bjelica has kind of a unique auto. And, whether that is a base jersey card or a base autograph, Noir does a really good job of getting holo foil on those higher numbered cards. It won't be that for the base sets, but for the autograph and memorabilia inserts, that is the case. Here's another representative kind of card from Noir, and that is the metal framed. So this is the Tyrese Haliburton rookie metal framed. I think it's called Statement Edition. And this is from 2021, Haliburton's rookie year. And it is Noir does lots of inserts with this metal framing on the outside. Again, with that holo foil, I think this particular was a first off the line exclusive, and there was a holo silver out of 25 and a holo gold out of 11. I actually like the holo silvers better, especially in Noir, and we'll see a lot of that throughout the years. But just a couple cards in my collection that aren't base cards that I thought would be a good excuse to show here. And man, I just love the holo foil on this. I mean, the holo foil shines beautifully and brilliantly. And it's a really, really beautiful card, I think. So those are a couple cards. Let's get into the conversation of the base sets from Panini Noir throughout the years. The structure of Panini Noir's base sets are always a two-pronged structure, regardless of the year that you look at, and that the identity of those prongs change from year to year, and in each kind of few years it shifts from one to another. There's some consistencies you'll see from one to the next, and we'll kind of see how that evolves throughout the various years of Noir. In 14-15 all the way through 16-17, the difference is going to be in a colored base. A colored base you can see here on the left are the rookies. So here's the Aaron Gordon colored rookie and the Kyrie Irving colored base vet card. So on the right in each pair is the colored vet versus rookie, and on the left is the black and white. So the 14-15 base set is split. Every player has 2 cards. Every player has a colored card. Every player has a black and white card. We won't break down too much of this in too much detail, hopefully, but you can see that the colored versus the rookie are inverted, right? So, whereas the Jordan Clarkson has the Noir logo and the Panini logo on left and right respectively, that's flipped for the colored rookie. Whereas the player name on the colored rookie is on the left and the team on the right, that's flipped for the black and white rookie, as well as the placement of that rookie card emblem relative to that cursive rookie. And, I don't know that big rookie word underlined in foil is necessarily aesthetically appealing, but I'm always for something that will distinguish a set and make it unique. And I think that's definitely something I don't recall seeing on any or on many, if any, other sets. And so I'm in favor of those sorts of design choices that Panini makes, at least in this case. And for the vets, you see the same kind of inversion where the same sort of placement is inverted. This set is really reminiscent of a lot of the base sets in the sense that it's mostly black background with some various level of kind of effect. And in this effect, it's almost like a gradient. It's a white-ish kind of design behind the player going into a black border on the outside. And this cursive rookie kind of font is kind of why I chose these rookie and vet fonts at the top here. So in 14-15, it was a colored base for each player and a black and white base for each player. In 15-16, here are the two side by side, the Nikola Mirotic, the rookie, and the vet. The black and white and the color side by side. 15-16, you saw the same thing. So you can see on the left, there's the black Karl Anthony Towns rookie and the Jokic colored rookie. Similar kind of inversion where the Panini Noir and the rookie card emblem get inverted in the black and white versus the colored. You'll notice, though, that the rookie stamping is much smaller and more subtle here on the 15-16. For the vets, you don't see that inversion. You can see that the vet is really similar in both of them. The 15-16 black and white versus color, the vets are nearly identical. What's different about 15-16 is that there are borders introduced. So now you have these white borders on the outside of the card. And otherwise, the card is really similar. That black background with kind of maybe not a gradient, but more of a gray or whitish splatter pattern in the background. And so you can see a lot of similarities. Again, you have a colored and a black and white for each player. And that is kind of the two-pronged approach. And I guess what I should have mentioned in that previous year is that what a lot of collectors do for Noir is they want to collect the base set or the 2 base cards of a certain player or maybe even a team. And so a lot of people, I think this was a photo from an eBay listing, and it has both of these Mirotic cards together kind of listed. And that's one of the pursuits that some people take with the Noir cards. 16-17 is going to be the last year where that's the different, where the 2 base cards are distinguished from color and black and white. So I guess in case it wasn't clear, the image of the player, the cropped photo of the player, is in black and white versus color. So you see here, the Patrick McCaw is in color and the Jamal Murray black and white. You can kind of see the difference here between the parallels in the sense that the foil is going to be different. So the foil on the McCaw, which is the base, is kind of a standard foil. And the Murray, which is the gold parallel, is going to be gold foil. I believe it's Holo gold, but I don't actually own a card from that set. And so that may or may not be the case. And, you'll notice in 16-17, Panini eliminated the borders, so it went back to kind of a full bleed black background. I kind of like the what they did though behind the player. You can see the background behind the player. There's the game background peeking through, so kind of faded in the back behind this spotlight. This crossing spotlight of the behind the player is really nice. It's kind of a really elegant effect. And behind that is the faded grayed out game background. So you can see the fans behind Jamal Murray here. You can see behind Curry, I think maybe a ref right there. And again, the fans behind Klay Thompson. So again, a lot of people might pursue the black and white and the gold for their player or team. And you'll notice both the color and the black and white base cards are identical here. Identical foiling, identical stamping, identical logo placement, and things like that. 17-18 is where Panini changed things. So instead of the two different types of base set being colored versus black and white cropped photos of the player featured on the card, both were in color, and instead the two halves of the two prongs of that structure became a home and away. So one base set pictured the player in their home jersey. That's what you see here on the left here with this Dennis Smith Jr. rookie, and then the Tobias Harris, versus the away jersey, which you see with that Jonathan Isaac and the Sabonis on the right. And this started a few-year run of the team logo kind of being the feature, the focus, along with the player. Some kind of design effects, and you'll see similarities to that background effect through a couple years, especially moving through 2019-20. But what's really, I think, nice about 2017-18 is the foil logo. Kind of this team logo is in foil, which is really nice. I think it isn't, anytime you can put big chunks of foil on the card, actually it looks really good. And you can see in the Isaac and the Sabonis, these are the Holo, I believe it's Holo gold parallels. I don't think they had a Holo silver parallel in 2017-18. And it's, again, it's a beautiful kind of looking card there with that all that foil of the team logo kind of shining through. You can imagine, obviously, because the away version has the portion of the team logo on the left, the home version has the portion of the team logo on the right. That means the card design is inverted in the sense that team logo is on either side of the card to make a pair. And so these two come together to make a pair. So you'll have, the alternate or the paired version of that Tobias Harris on the left would be the away version with the right half of the logo. And I wanted to feature kind of various different players and parallels, and that is what you see here. And so again, the name is on the outside of the card, if you will, and then the team logo is on the inside of the card, so on and so forth. I actually own a couple of cards from this set, so I actually want to take a second to show those to you real quick. And those are going to both be the home edition rookie cards from two Kings players. One is Justin Jackson, and you can see here the kind of half Kings logo on this side while wearing a home jersey. This is actually numbered 5/79, De'Aaron Fox's De'Aaron Fox's jersey number, though, and it was his rookie year, even though this was not a De'Aaron Fox card. And I also have the home edition as well of the Bogdan Bogdanovic. So again, what's really nice about this year, and I really enjoy that they did, is that kind of huge foil team logo. And I don't have any parallels from this year. You can see the base is numbered out of 79. So it's really nice that they're low numbered base cards. I mean, this is a high-end set, and it's a really exclusive, rare, low numbered base card, which is really cool. I mean, for a player that becomes kind of legendary, you think of like a Jason Tatum, could be an all-time great player. He was a rookie this year. The following year, 2018, Luka, to have a base card numbered out of 79. I think Luka's might have been a 99 out of 99 in 2018. It's just really cool to have a kind of rare exclusive base set. So those are a couple from 2017-18, and I don't have any parallels from that year, but I will from future years. Something else that contributes to, I think, kind of the appeal or the high-end appeal of the base set is that the cards are really thick. They're I think 130 point. So again, really, really thick cards, kind of adding to this idea of how elusive they are, how rare they are, and kind of the premium feel. 2018-19 shared a lot of similar design features to 17-18, except they changed the name. Instead of home and away, they called it icon and association. And so here's what it looks like when you actually have both players paired, or both the icon and association paired up. You see kind of the Shea logo, the Clippers logo on the left and right, and how they come together. And again, collectors, a really kind of popular thing, I guess, is that collectors will put together the two logos. So they'll put together the icon and the association cards. And don't even ask me why they came up with those as the new names rather than home and away, although it does make more sense in 1920, or at least it's a little more logical. But they'll put together the two, they'll pair them up, and that's a pretty cool kind of small pursuit that kind of helps you feel like you have a pair or a completion of something in kind of collecting. It's a small goal you can achieve. And a lot of differences here, right? It's not just that pure kind of full bleed black like you saw in 17-18. You now have this white bar for the nameplate, for the player nameplate. On the rookies, it's on the top. On the vets, it's on the bottom. You'll notice the biggest difference is, of course, that the team logo is not in foil, but rather it's black and white, or I guess just white here. And then the foil is kind of in some of the bordering, right? The bordering, thin borders throughout the cards. And you can see this Holo silver Shea is the foil, because the foil is only kind of limited to the name and the border along the outside. It decreases the amount of foil on the card. And for that reason, I'm not the hugest fan of the 18-19 design, because I think that the foil doesn't quite shine as much and doesn't show through as much as it would on the 17-18. And I do own a 2018-19 Noir. See, there it was, Noir, a 2018 Noir base card, specifically a base parallel. It's the Icon Edition, and it's the Holo Silver out of 25. This is the De'Aaron Fox Icon Edition. And again, you can see here the Holo foil, that Holo Silver. I love the Holo Silver on these cards. The thing about 2018 is, because that team logo is no longer in foil, but rather it's kind of the white, just matching that white strip at the bottom. Since that team logo is in white rather than foil, and the foil is kind of only on the outside, it really kind of dulls it a little bit, the parallels. The parallels definitely don't shine as much because there's just not as much foil for them to shine off of. And I appreciate Panini changing it up so that, you know, looking back at the previous year, the 2017-18, you know, it's a very similar design. And you can see that side by side. It's a really similar design. It's, you know, there's the border on this 2018-19 on that Fox, whereas there is no foil border on the Bogdanovich from 2017-18. Obviously, the logo placement and kind of style is very similar. But the difference is that in that Fox, the 2017-18, it's in white rather than foil. You know, I don't own one of the 2017-18 parallels, but I imagine that team logo kind of in foil would be beautiful on there. And so I think that I appreciate the differences. I definitely think that the 2017-18 is a superior design to the 2018-19. But even the 2018-19, again, it's kind of rare. I like that they have the king's name in cursive there, really nice font, rather than kind of an afterthought here on the Bogdanovich on the side, kind of boring with it. But yeah, and you can see in the background kind of what they're doing with the black design. You can see the black effects, kind of the texturing, or the kind of looks like behind Fox is a curtain of sorts. Behind the Bogdanovich, you kind of see a little bit of that effect, some effect back there. And what I think is some sort of like rafting, like you'd see in the rafters of an arena or maybe court design there. So yeah, just a couple of interesting things when looking and seeing the comparison there. So it's a couple things. Just a quick look comparing the 2017-18 to the 18-19, but also specifically kind of showing an example in the flesh of the 18-19, specifically that Holo silver parallel. So the 1920, again, is Icon and Association. And so they changed the name in 2018 from home and away to Icon and Association, but they actually did keep consistent the home versus away jerseys. So the Association edition always featured players in their home jersey. The Icon edition always featured players in their away jerseys. You can see the two Zions right there, as well as McCollum and the Trae Young. You can see here that the designs are identical, whether it's a rookie or a vet. So the Association Zion and McCollum are identical. The Icon Zion and Trae Young are identical. This is a pretty big kind of dissension from what Noir had been in the past, you know. And the first 3 years, it was the colored and black and white. Then the following 2 years, it was the two halves of the team logo. Here, it's really different. On that Association edition, it's a kind of court background and has some of that kind of grid or raft pattern, like kind of I kind of picture the rafters of an arena. I don't know why that's what this pattern in the background of the Association edition reminds me of. It's completely different. It doesn't quite pair the same way that the previous years had paired. There is still a team logo. You can see the Zion is pretty clear. There's that Pelican small logo up there at the kind of where the basket would be. If this is the top of the key under here, and that's the free throw line, that's where the basket would be. Totally different when you look at the Icon edition. And this actually now makes sense why it's called Icon. I mean, I don't know if that's what they were going for, because in the previous year, the Icon versus Association, and it seemed to make a lot of sense. But in 1920, you see that the Icon, the focus is the team logo, and the Zion, because a lot of that logo is in the middle, it's kind of covered up by his photo. But the Trae Young, you can see that team icon really taking center stage behind him. And obviously you kind of see the different foil elements and the kind of top and bottom foil borders and that white bottom border. And yeah, so that's kind of the 1920 where it went away from the norm. And I think that's going to continue, that kind of lack of a concrete pairing that's consistent, where, hey, here's one version is the color photo of a player, one version is black and white, or one version is this half of a team logo, the other version is the other half. I think this pretty much sticks through 23-24, which is the most recent year. So I do also happen to own a 2019-20 card, which is actually a new pickup for me and features my favorite of the Noir Base parallels. And here's the only version of the 2019-20 Noir Base that I own. It's actually the Holo silver parallel out of 25, and this is my absolute favorite Noir card. My favorite Noir parallel, the Holo silver out of 25. Remember how I said that the team logo in foil, when it's hollow, that hollow foil just shines. I mean, so much, the names, the foil, the borders, the Noir logo, the team logo, all that foil. Tell me this card isn't incredible. It shines so beautifully. It's just so, look at all that rainbow, the reflection of the light. I mean, it's just, man, this takes the cake. Like, this is, it's, I'm not saying it's one of the best designs ever or anything like that, but this is one of those cards. The moment I saw it, I mean, we know those cards are out there, right? The moment you see it, you're like, wow, that thing is beautiful. This design, this parallel, this foil, this huge team logo across the middle of the card, that when it's in foil and that foil is hollow foil and it's reflecting the light, just kind of, it just jumps off the card, jumps and illuminates the entire thing. It's just a thing of beauty. And again, from the moment you see it, it's just, I just can't imagine. It's hard. It's one of those cards where you're looking at it and you're like, I can't imagine anyone not thinking this is beautiful. And yeah, so again, I'm sorry. The whole point of this is to nerd out, right? So I am nerding out big time over this design and this foil. And, it's like, if it wasn't unreasonable, this would be a set I'd be like, man, I want to get this set. I want to get every card out there that exists of this. It's just awesome. So I'm sorry for drooling over this card, but man, it's just so good. It's just, it's like one of those things where I wish I had the words to explain it. I wish I could express how awesome I think it is, but I will spare you that suffering and just leave it at that. This is just an amazing card. So that's the 1920. Going to continue with the 2021, where things again get really different from what they've been in the past. You see the full team logo here. I guess if you want to say that there's the pair, again, you have the pairing, but in this case, in 2021, the pairing is player base card with a horizontal white border on top and bottom this is going to be the association edition. You can see both of those for the Smith and the Luca. And then it's got these vertical white borders on the association edition, the icon edition, going up and down the left and right of the card. Both feature full team logos in white and this hardwood floor kind of with a spotlight on it behind the player. But again, doesn't really quite feature that same pairing aspect that you might have seen in the first few years. Does still keep the low numbering, and along the way, they kind of did a good job keeping the parallels at a minimum. I think at its highest, Noir only had 2 parallels plus a 101. So in the early years, it was just the base, then a gold, then a 101. Around 1920, 2021, they added a couple parallels. So there was a gold and a silver. And those became a little bit less rare. So I think in 1920, I just showed the Holo silver out of 25. I believe in 2021, they became out of 35. And then in 21-22, those Holo silvers, I don't have any pictured here, but those Holo silvers became out of 49, I believe. And you can see here, again, kind of doesn't seem to pair up, the association edition here is still the one that's the Davion and the Maxi. They're still the ones that don't feature the icon. They're pretty true to keeping the team logo as the icon edition. And they, there's not a lot of consistency across the design. It kind of looks similar in the sense that you still got that kind of brick layer work. So I think that's the common theme, is like the brick layer work here on the maxi matches that of the LeBron and the Jalen Johnson. It's just kind of almost the design on the Association Edition looks horizontal in terms of, or I guess vertical in terms of design, where you have the white and the name kind of vertical, whereas the Icon Edition is going to be horizontal, and you see that horizontal splitting of the card versus the vertical splitting of the card. But again, doesn't kind of hold true to that pairing, even if there are the two base cards of the player. 22-23 kind of, I think, does a really good job changing it up a little bit. Like you can see this Johnny Davis goes a little more gray. I really like this design. This design's really nice. They go back to, instead of the icon being a team logo and the association being a kind of completely random design, they go back to both the icon and association being team logos. You can see they kind of go back to the inversion, where the Johnny Davis, oh, I didn't even realize that I've gotten both of these Johnny Davis. The Association Edition, and I know it's the Association Edition because he's wearing his home jersey. The Association Edition has the bordering on the bottom, along the bottom and right, whereas for the maxi, it's on the bottom and the left. Sorry, bottom and left. And it does kind of keep up with the previous year's design in that the Association or sorry, not the previous years, but from 2 years ago, where they had those borders, on the Ingram. You can see it where it's vertical versus horizontal. You kind of see that in a sense where it's really a vertical focused design. And I guess from starting in 2020, that's what it became, kind of a vertical versus horizontal. And so you can see that here. And I had mentioned how the Holo Silver Parallel increased in print run. This is out of 49, the Johnny Davis. Beautiful holo foil there, and it really does look great. And again, I showed on that Donovan Mitchell how much I like those holo silvers, and even better than the golds. But I think it's just it looks really good. I think they kind of realized, though, back in 22-23 that there was a little lack of direction or a lack of consistency. In 23-24, they actually went back to that half team logo on either side. So you can see here, we got the gold parallel of the Jaime Jaquez, the Victor base, and the Cade bases. These Cade bases, for those who care about numbering, are pretty cool because you got the 1 out of 99 for the Icon Edition and the 99 out of 99 on the Association. And so it's a pretty cool kind of, you can see the Cade together again, putting together the two halves of the team logo with him and the two different jerseys, the home and the away jerseys. And it kind of shows you again how you can put those together to kind of have some sort of completion to the two base cards, rather than really a lot of the years, specifically from 2019 through 2022, those kind of, I don't know, weird years in the middle that seem to have a little bit lack of that pairing and lose the identity of the base set for a little bit. It's really cool for a collector. I mean, if I was a Cade collector, I would really love to have that pair. And obviously I don't have any Kings pairs, but I think it'd be really cool to put some together. I've never really made it a priority, but I think that would be a really cool thing to put together. You see some of the differences here. You still got some of that foil work. It's again reminiscent to that 2017-2018 design where you have the half team logo on each side with some kind of cool background effect. This background effect kind of reminds me of James Bond. I feel like it's that GoldenEye, Nintendo 64 GoldenEye, James Bond kind of gun scope looking effect. On the rookies, you have the white nameplate up top for the player name. On the vets, you've got the team name down on the bottom in that white nameplate. So some minor differences, but pretty consistent across the two. And I think that it's been a really interesting implementation of a unique idea for base cards. And I'm not sure if this exists elsewhere in the basketball card or greater sports card landscape, where you can have these two base cards that pair up throughout the years, even if some of those years those pairs seemed a little bit blurry at best. But it's a really neat idea, and I am interested and intrigued to see what 24-25 brings if Panini releases that Noir set and what the base cards look like. I would like it. It'd be cool if they don't quite do the same thing as they've done for 30% of that brand's lifetime, which is the half team logos. I like that idea that the two come together to make a complete pair, like, in 2017, 2018, and 2023. But at the same time, I think that some other means of making that pair would be interesting. They can get creative and find another way to create that pair. Obviously, those early years were color versus black and white. And, there's some ideas out there. There's something they could come up with to maybe go out with a bang from their time with the license. And so I hope you found some of this interesting. I hope it was fun to see some cards, some Noir cards, both kind of on camera, but also some photos that I accumulated. And I had a lot of fun looking through this set. I mean, there's a lot I learned about Panini Noir and its cards as I was going through the set. It was really cool to see how it started as that black and white kind of versus color pairing. How some years there were kind of just full bleed black, eventually to the white borders and the game backgrounds, and how they totally shifted away from that into the team logos, the half team logos for a couple years that eventually became a little bit less of a directly related pair. You can still see kind of home versus away jerseys, even when the lines got a little blurry. And I guess, in those years where Noir lacked that perfect kind of pairing feel, the consistency was the home and away jerseys on the two different base cards. So that, for better or worse, is something that Panini was consistent with. There was definitely a nice look at, I felt like I appreciated kind of how high end of a feel this was. And I think I knew that the base cards were low numbered, right? I mean, a base set that's numbered out of only 99 is really rare and is not common, and it's not something we ever see. I mean, even Exquisite in its years was out of 225 for some of the years. And that's the one that sticks out. I know there were some years out of 225. And so I think that it kind of gave me an appreciation for how high end it is. I really appreciated that holo foil. It gave me an opportunity to pick up that Donovan Mitchell, my favorite parallel. Just love the way that full team logo on the 2019 shines. So, so I think that was a really cool opportunity. I hope you enjoyed something. Feel free to kind of share any thoughts you have, whether or not you like Noir, you dislike Noir, whether you feel like the two parts of a whole idea is a good one or a cliche one, what your favorite design or parallel might be, or maybe if there's some other non-base cards from the set that you think are interesting or like. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know and keep the conversation going. Have a great one. And as always, happy collecting.